I want to talk about something that might have been one of the best things, but also one of the most disappointing things about this movie. And I want to say that's the Riddler. I loved everything about the Riddler in this movie, but ultimately,
Times come back.
Keep going, Ryan.
I did not think that'd be the stinger. My only issue is it revolves around him killing these political leaders that get sold to Falcone. Falcone's the real mayor of Gotham for the past 20 years. But
because he manipulates people and pays them off and they're corrupted.
I totally forgot where I was going, bro.
That's okay. I saved you right there because that's
the Riddler. No. So I feel like the second act devoted too much time to focusing on who the rat is, where that's really what the second act is. The first act is introducing the Riddler. The second act is figuring out who the rat is to figure out who the Riddler is. And then the third act, you barely even get Riddler. He gets captured. He has this great scene in the prison. And then it turns into, oh, wait, I'm just going to bomb these city seawalls that we never really got introduced to up until, oh, wait, he needs to do something destructive to be considered a high tier villain. Because up until that moment, they never mentioned it, only in the very beginning when the mayor was watching his back and forth with the chick who did win the mayoral candidate because he died. They mentioned it like, oh, the seawall this, but that's about it. They never mentioned the seawall ever again.
Well, that's the point. Riddler is supposed to be like 5 steps ahead. You don't,
bro. I didn't even know there was a seawall though. Up until the second viewing.
In the beginning that they mentioned the
seawall.
I did.
I just told you I didn't notice that until the second viewing. They don't tell you throughout the entire movie about the seawall up until the Riddler needs to bomb it.
The beginning and the end. Everything else is connected to that.
Okay, I do think for the Riddler. Okay, I understand. I think in this case in particular, he is like the puppet master. Okay, in this movie, and I think that the script, if anyone's talking about anything in this movie, it's definitely not the script, which is clearly flawed, and we see that. Structurally, I don't like the setup, and that's because the Riddler is the one being the puppet master. He's technically leading Bruce. He's technically leading Batman. Oh my God! Yeah, alcohol. We're all drinking though, Gabriel. It's true.
I am.
We're all drinking water. But I'm saying that the Riddler leading them to Falcone, leading them to the Penguin, and introducing these characters was fine. It did lose its footing a bit, but I do think that it was like a slow reveal for how capable the Riddler is into like messing with everyone and having a hand in everyone's lives and knowing everyone. I think they set that up pretty well. I understand what you're saying with the third act. Personally, the third act for me is where it completely like falls apart. I'm sorry, but it's true. It doesn't really like stick it for me, but I do understand that the Riddler's all over the place and you kind of lose him at times, but I think focusing the rat was just to divert the attention, because at the end of this is a film noir. So if the script in a film noir isn't like polished to a T and doesn't have a good structure with the twist, then like that's how it's gonna falter, and like that's what happens in the third act. So I understand the Riddler disappointment. I get it. He's still great, Paul Dano.
It bothers me because Paul Dano is so fucking fantastic. I love every second. But when you think about it, this movie's 3 hours. You only physically see him in the suit in the very first scene. After that, he's either on the phone for two other murders, and then he gets arrested, and then he has the scene with Joker in the prison. And then the whole middle second act of this film really pins in on everything connecting back to Falcone. And I really think that at that point, they should have just made Falcone the villain. He's connected to Catwoman. He's connected to Oswald. He's connected to the police department, and he's connected to the Riddler.
Technically,
he is. That's the point of the movie. That's the entire point of the movie is presenting Batman with these insurmountable odds. Insurmountably, the steep for him to tackle Gotham is so ridiculously ridiculous that even Catwoman, Selena Kyle, tells Robert Pattinson's Batman at the end, like, dude, you're not going to win this battle. Like, it's Falcone, it's the Riddler, and I disagree completely. Like the Riddler, I thought was so original. I thought the writing for the Riddler was fantastic.
No, I don't disagree. I love the Riddler.
Yeah, I love the fact that the Riddler won in this. He didn't get Bruce, but he basically got every single person on his list. He exposed the corruption. He flooded the city. On the opposite end, Batman was literally born out of Gotham's demise. That entire writing is amazing to me.
Can I ask you guys something?
No.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Especially,
no,
I need to hear what AJ thinks about this. It didn't feel like the Riddler to me, and I feel like they borrowed a lot from Hush, almost like even the look of the Riddler, and it just felt like, why the hell didn't they just do Hush? It didn't feel like the Riddler to me.
I would say it's not fully the Riddler. It is a mix between the two.
And
You get the Riddler that's very
No, and that kind of bothers me. Like, if they were going to do that, just do Hush. Hush is a really good character. Like,
yeah, but for me, I like it because it helps connect the Arkhams. It helps everything connect between each other. It helps the Arkhams. It helps the Maronis. It helps Falcone. Everything. It helps build this underground world, the mythology of the underground world, a lot more so, even more so than in the comics, to me at least.
But what I mean is, like, it seems like the name the Riddler is attractive to people because they know who that is. But I feel like, just to show us something new, they should have just went with a completely different direction.
Well, this character on its own is still technically the Riddler. It just has hints.
I mean, yeah, he calls himself the Riddler, man. So of course,
this movie is not about Batman outsmarting the Riddler. Just stop. That's not what it's about. At its core, the Batman is about Bruce and Batman letting go of his past and realizing that he needs to inspire hope to Gotham, not vengeance. That was the entire point of the Riddler as his plot device, in my opinion.
And I like that, Dibes. I like that hope that he gives the city, but I just feel like I said, Paul Dano's excellent. I just feel like it was very misleading to call him the Riddler. It just, like, worst case scenario, he could have just been anybody. Like, they could have just created a villain.
That was the point of the character. He's basically anybody. He's an orphan.
They literally changed his fucking name for some reason, and they never even said it in the movie. His comic name is Edward Nigma, but they changed it to Edward Nashton for what fucking reason?
I don't understand.
No,
why.
I know, but
I was hung up on that too.
But, like,
it doesn't make sense. Why change it in the first place, though?
It made me feel like
instead of instilling fear to criminals, the Riddler taught him that he needs to instill hope to the people. That is just, that's not a great device. I don't know what.
But and throughout this whole movie, he's never named the Riddler.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is, bro. I literally
everyone calls him that.
They call him the Riddler.
Yeah,
Batman
they call him the Riddler.
Yes, I'm gonna find the Riddler. He calls him the Riddler.
They call him the Riddler all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely do 100%. But Deeps, I agree with you. Good. The idea concept is great, but I don't think the execution was perfect.
I'm not gonna lie. Did I want to see the Riddler in his like Riddler costume at the end? 100.
That's too cheesy. 100%. I'm sorry, but that costume is way too cheesy.
Hey man, doesn't matter. We want to see it.
I can't get
as good as Catwoman was, like, Catwoman was just missing those amazing like red goggles, and that would have been like literally perfect. But I was waiting for the Riddler costume to drop, and I would have been through the like whatever the phrase is, like to the moon.
I want to
in my
ask you
opinion,
guys,
though, like the fact with him being suited and booted like that, like I feel like that's a part of his character almost, and I feel like you strip him down and put him in a fucking military jacket, like literally he could be anybody. Like that's what it felt like to me. It just felt like a nameless villain that just got put with the Riddler name because he was giving out ciphers. Like, dude, he's the fucking Zodiac killer. That's what it was. Like,
and this was like the first tip. This was the first tip when I realized that, like, you know how, like, you know, Bruce and Edward didn't start out that different. They're both orphans, other than like you know, poverty versus Bruce's family there. I thought that was really interesting, and that was the first part where I started to think we're gonna start getting into Joker, because a big part of like Joker's theme is like how one bad day can change someone that's completely sane and throw him down a completely different universe as a bad guy versus a hero. So I definitely had those vibes, and I think that's I think that's where we're going. We're going to talk about that later. But for me, I thought the Riddler was terrific. That scene where he's in the diner and his head is on the ground, and you see Batman walk in, and that smile that he gives to Batman is one of my favorite scenes of this movie. It was so good.
I want to point out a really subtle editing error that's been bothering me. I just want to put it out there.
When you told me, I was like,
it
okay.
really has no effect on anything. I just
We
want
got
to
a
put
long
it out
list.
there. 'Cause,
He
like,
kills me. I swear to God. Like,
so
Technical Ryan, here we go.
when they go into the Riddler's apartment, right? They find a photo of young Edward behind Bruce Wayne and his parents at the orphanage when they opened it. But if you go back earlier in the movie, when they showed the video clip from where that picture's taken, Edward's never actually behind them, but he is in the picture. It's a small editing thing. I realize it, but it annoys me so much when you notice a small little detail.
Okay.
It means
It's okay.
nothing, by the way. But I do want to ask you guys something. How did you guys feel about the Catwoman twist of Falcone being her father? Do you guys think that really worked? Because for me, it kind of felt like very out of left field and really didn't add to any type of emotional impact, or didn't really add anything to the story for me. But I'm very curious to know what you guys think, because it felt very random. Like, oh, you're her son?
Really
You're her daughter?
Really quick,
His daughter?
Ryan, I
Fuck.
agree with you.
Fuck.
It felt like it came out of nowhere. I was
So
like,
very
what?
random.
So it was very off-putting.
I agree, because I was confused because she said that she wanted to kill Falcone for Annika, and then afterwards she said she never had a connection with Falcone. He didn't know that it was his daughter and all of that, and it was just like confusing. And then she wanted to kill Falcone on behalf, like she said that this is for my mother, and I'm like, you're not there for her. So I was kind of confused as to why they even put that there in the first place, because they're, other than to get intel, like, it just didn't make any sense to me to have that connection.
Also want to add on that she also what was I gonna say? I just lost it, bro.
I kind of liked it. I actually thought it was to me, like Batman and Catwoman felt like two like polarizing magnets. Like they're like coming together. And I thought for me, they're thrown into Gotham, which is like just the world building of Gotham was terrific. It feels like this unbelievably corrupted city. And actually, that was the connective tissue that I thought brought back to Batman, especially Bruce Wayne, for me, and Falcone. So it worked for me, at least.
So the thing that I was gonna say before, something that kind of bothers me, is when she finally reveals that Falcone's her father by the bat signal. It's very insinuated within that conversation that he knows that she's his daughter, because she even hints at that he just let me go and let me get taken by the orphanage people or whoever the fuck. But then later, he doesn't know who the fuck she is. So I don't really know where her problem is coming from. If he never knew who you were, then why are you mad that he never took you in? He never knew you were his daughter. And that kind of goes back to what Amanda said. She's there for Annika for one moment, she's there for her mom for another, but then she's also there for the money she says that he owes her. Yeah. So it all kind of gets diluted on what is she really there for, and what does Falcone actually know, because it's very differing on each side to me. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way there.
Oh, you want to? I can. Well, before all of that, she was there for one specific reason. For what?
No, yeah, I'm agreeing with Matt. Continue. You're good, AJ. Don't worry. Sorry.
But Selena was at the club before that, so I do think that she did have a specific reason before Annika and all of that, to be in that club.
Oh no, I don't disagree. But when she says that her reasons for this 3 separate times with 3 separate different reasons, that's when you start getting confused. Because honestly, if we're basing it on
2 reasons, I thought it was just
it was Annika, her mom, and the money. First, it was Annika, then it was the money, and then it was her mother when she finally had the gunpoint. Yeah. And so that's where I'm just like, man, so why are you really here? It starts making me question, like, who really knows what's really the situation here, because I'm getting two separate stories from the same person. And
I
that's
really
where
really enjoyed the Batman Year One Catwoman in this movie.
I
I thought
agree.
that Zoe Kravitz killed this. This is probably my favorite part of the movie. To be honest, I thought Catwoman was the best, especially her dynamic with Robert Pattinson. Those scenes that she has are amazing. In fact, I would say that, you know, scrap Arkham Asylum series, give me a Catwoman movie or series, because that is she was so good in it. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I thought she was good. I thought she was.
Give me everything.
Give me Gotham City Sirens,
Wait,
fam.
can I-
No,
Yeah,
we
guys,
can get rid of that one. No, we're good
like,
on that one.
I think that their chemistry was electric. Obviously, like,
It was so good.
you know, regardless of whether or not they actually banged on set, which was that stupid rumor that came out.
Dude, that's so funny.
I
There
believe
was
it.
like,
I believe it. I
yeah, no,
see
but
it.
there
I
was
don't know.
I don't blame him.
palpable chemistry, and I gotta admit, when Pattinson grabs her and just lunges her on the table, and then her legs are
Yes.
wrapped around him, I was like,
Yes.
no, like
Yeah.
what is about to happen right now? But
Don't you?
does anybody
you
else feel like she was undercooked?
Not at all. No, I thought she.
No.
I don't know. I thought she was actually one of the main characters of this movie.
I
I
just
agree.
felt like, okay, we see her break into that safe once, and then she does her little roundhouse kicks. But I don't feel like Catwoman was established, in my opinion.
And I kind of feel that way for all the characters, because
She cracked one safe, and then I'm Catwoman, and it's like, where are
Loretto,
you?
you're kind of capturing a larger problem that I kind of have with this movie. Is we go through all of these phases of where we want to get these characters, but Gordon doesn't move up in any rank. Batman's still not called Batman. He's gone from vengeance to hope. Catwoman's not Catwoman. Oz isn't the Penguin. No one seems like they
an
progress
origin
internally.
movie.
They call him that though.
Who? Wait, call who?
They
what?
call him the Penguin.
Yeah,
Don't
they
they
call him the
say it
Penguin,
in the
though.
movie. They do call him the Penguin.
I only remember them calling him the Penguin once.
They call everybody. That doesn't mean they.
No,
did.
they didn't call her Catwoman. They did
No,
not call her
they
Catwoman,
didn't. He
though.
calls her Selena. Like that's the only thing that's
Yeah,
been said.
they never say
Yeah.
Catwoman.
No.
I know for a fact. And I think Riddler's the only one to call him Batman, other than there's one scene, the first scene with Alfred, when he says to the Batman, like when he's reading the
Yeah.
to sign on the note. That's the only other time someone calls him Batman. But like generally, he's only called Batman by the Riddler, which I thought it seemed natural for both of them to one become a commissioner because the commissioner died, and then he's been called the Batman throughout, and people are questioning it, like the Batman. Oh, he's called Vengeance. Catwoman calls him Batboy. Like, at least give someone something that they've been building up to. And if they do it in the beginning of the second one, I'd feel even more cheated to like just do it at the end of this one.
You wanted the moon. You wanted to like lasso the moon and bring it to you. You wanted this movie to be like 5-6 fucking hours. And like you wanted everything. You wanted
I want it to be 2:30, Deebs.
Otto. Sorry, doggo. I will say,
I enjoyed Catwoman. I thought her dynamic with Robert Pattinson was great. I thought the way the story kind of like focused on those two, but they clearly like knew what they wanted from each other independently, and I just thought it flowed really well with the story for me, and that just naturally built their chemistry as the movie progressed. I thought Catwoman was one of the true highs of this film.
No,
I also-
absolutely agree.
Can I just add that I like that they put them as partners in this, like in this movie? I feel like we never got that, and that they never really worked together as well as like in other films.
They don't really work together.
I have a question for Amanda. Would you rather have a Poison Ivy Harley Quinn movie? Wait, never mind. I take it back. I'm like,
Damn it.
I'm going to derail this completely conversation. I take it back.
Okay.
No, you gotta say it now.
No. I'm not going to.
I really love them together, and I just feel like they saw each other as equals in this, and yeah, I thought their chemistry was amazing. I just wanted to add to that because I really love the scene Where they're in the
I agree with
motorcycles.
you, Amanda, but I
side
feel
to
like
side.
they didn't work
I
together
love it.
enough.
Also true. I mean, I could have had a whole movie of just the bat and the cat, and I would have been very satisfied. So like that, like I totally understand that.
I think that's the biggest detriment to it is it's trying to juggle too much. Because if I'm being honest, I'll just get into like my Penguin thoughts. Man, I really like their interpretation of the Penguin, but if you change him for any other character, it would have made no difference. He was literally only in this movie so they can set up his HBO Max show, and that's really what the last shot of him was of Catwoman talking about how multiple people are going to try and take that reign from Falcone, and it goes to an image of the Penguin. So,
hey Ryan, I agree with you. I think that the Penguin could have been anybody.
He could have, and like it sucks because it's a good version, and I'm curious to see what they do with him. But
AJ,
yeah, I don't know.
Wait, hold on. You guys say it could have been anybody.
It could have.
But it's
stressing me out, man.
So
you okay?
let's just say, hey, it was Joe Chill, basically. That's it could have been. That criticism is just. It could have been anybody. Okay.
The only thing that doesn't make him someone else is that final shot I just explained, because he is just Oz in this movie. They call him the Penguin once, but that's about it. He's just the henchman for Falcone.
What are your expectations? I want to know.
No, I'm not saying I
want to know.
I didn't have expectations.
Like there's a lot of setup. There's a lot of world building. Like I honestly want to know, especially from Ryan and Lo, like what were your expectations of this movie? You want the entire world of this thing.
No,
everything wrapped up with a bow and pretty fancy wrapping paper. What are we talking about here?
Wait, time out. Hey Ryan, let me answer that real quick.
Ooh.
No, let me answer that real quick. Look, this movie had me by the neck the second it started, okay? I was in it to win it. I was like, this is fucking great. But like it slowly like let off the gas, released my shirt, kind of like tucked my shirt back in, like patted me on the head. It lost its way in the middle, man. It didn't have to be 3 hours. It stuffed in all this stuff that it could have been condensed in a more simpler way. And like, if you're going to focus on this Hush/Riddler guy, focus on him. Why the hell are you going to put Colin Farrell as the Penguin in the background for what amounts to like 5 minutes of screen time? It's very distracting, if I'm being honest. And Zoe Kravitz is great. She's great. But you know what? Take the Penguin out, fucking cut like 20 minutes of this screen time and devote more of it to Zoe Kravitz, who I thought was really good.
Or even the Riddler, like one of the two, please, because I feel like
the Riddler had enough screen time. Is all I'm gonna say. Like,
I have a
feel
question.
Like it was a
I have a
lot
question
of the
for
Riddler.
Lo.
I'm just saying.
What?
I have a question for Lo.
You guys want Frodo and Sam to get to like Mordor in Fellowship of the Ring? Like,
I want a more condensed story that doesn't leave me on where this characters are going to go or this and that. I like where it leaves us for the city of Gotham, but I don't like when they just try to lead you into another show with a character that ultimately doesn't do anything. Someone else could have been chased by Batman.
But we got what we got.
I don't disagree.
You're saying it could have been anybody, but we got what we got.
No, I don't disagree. But that's the point of film criticism: is the ifs, the what's, that's the whole thing.
Okay, but I do have a honest question for you, Ryan and Lo.
Oh God!
You guys say that it was too long of a runtime, but you also say that you wanted multiple other things. Well, my question. Hold on.
There's a lot of scenes that linger.
Hold
execution
on
right now. Okay.
My question is to you: what would you get rid of to help include those things that you wanted? That's my question.
I'd get rid of Cobblepot entirely.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to require all of his film time to be to one person. You could split that up into between the Riddler and Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. There's a few scenes that I felt like just went on too long. For example, the very end when they're driving off, 2 frames could have been taken off of that. It's the small things.
This is a film noir. You have players.
It is film noir. Why are we seeing 10 shots of them driving in a motorcycle?
The entire point of the Penguin was to think, oh, he did it.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
agree
the
with that.
point of a film noir.
But I never.
Yeah.
I
Like Chinatown.
never told myself that
It's
he
the
did
same
it.
thing.
I
Hey,
want to
hey,
get.
hold on.
I want to get Loretta's. I
Hey,
want to
can,
get.
Whoa,
okay,
whoa,
I'm gonna
whoa,
answer
whoa.
you, AJ, but can I
Okay.
speak to Wesley real quick? Because he said, "Oh, the setup for another film." No, you know what? Honestly, I was really excited.
It's not another
thinking-
film. It's another. It's a show that's just gonna
No.
focus. I just want to say sorry.
No, but also, I mean, it was exciting to know that Matt Reeves wasn't connected to anything. And that's what was exciting. And it kind of irked me to think that, oh, hey, let's set up the next one. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, just let this story be its own story. Like, I didn't need to see Joker and the Riddler in a cell together. Like, I
I agree
didn't
with that.
need
agree.
that. Like, that was like 5 minutes right there. That was just like, why are we meeting this guy? Like,
Can we
look,
get
I
into
know
that?
that Joker is the fucking like anti-hero of Batman forever in all time, but dude, how many freaking Jokers do we need? I would
Yeah.
love to see like more of his gallery
How many
that
Batmans
isn't
do
the
we
Joker,
need?
in my opinion.
And
But-
hold on before we
Wait,
get to
Jay.
the Joker.
I mean,
Joker,
if we're gonna get a
Joker?
lot of Jokers, we don't need a lot of Batmans at that
You
point.
can't have
But I do-
them without each other. But
Wait, hold on. Going back to AJ though, look,
Yeah.
my only thing is it just felt unfocused. Like, look, if we're gonna do the detective thing, right? The detective thing, that's fantastic. Like the first 40 minutes, I was on board. He's using Selena as a with the camera, and he's like investigating. He's actually on the crime scene. Great. And then at some point, it slows down, and it just almost gets away from that. And I feel like if it's Batman as a detective, fantastic. That's what made me love this film. But it just loses its way in the middle. It didn't need to be as long as it was. Honestly, like if you watch 7 in less than 2 hours, you get a lot of what this movie was accomplishing in less than 2 hours. And that's all I'm really getting at, is that it could have been more focused. And there was a lot of stylistic, beautiful visuals. But at the end of the day, you don't need to be long for the sake of being long, in my opinion.
And before we move on to the Joker, I just want to end on to Loretto and what Wesley commented. It's a TV show that they're setting up for HBO Max, not a movie. And 2, it's not that they did it, it's the way they did it. If they teased the Penguin in like a cameo scene even, that would have been fine. I just felt like they dedicated way too much time for this character that ultimately doesn't do nothing for the story. And he's only just there to set up for another movie, which is fine, but don't dedicate. I don't know why Colin Farrell says he has like 5 minutes in this movie. He has like 15 at the very least, right?
and they're golden.
He does have a point to the. He does have a point to the movie, but yeah.
I'm just trying to be an ass.
He directs Batman. The
He's
right
just trying to be a red herring.
Correct.
He's a penguin with wings just because they mess up their Spanish.
That's not the only reason why. He's also meant to help world build the entire Batman lore.
I know.
No, I know. That's
not-
why Loretto is like.
That's not what
me
I'm
and Loretto
saying.
love world building as much as
Wait,
anyone.
no,
Otherwise,
but
you
you said that he had no other point of the movie, but
No, I'm trying to say, no, he didn't have any other point. They dedicated too much time to him, is what I'm trying to get at. They could have, they can still have him in the movie, but they drew out his time ultimately. He could. I don't know why they also made him a secondary to Falcone. I like him much better as his. I like him much better as his own boss.
He's going to be.
That's how
He's
he
going
gets
to be.
to that point like that.
Like I said,
He's literally going to be.
Listen. I think.
you guys are just.
Listen,
You
can I
guys
say
are
something?
They're just leading into my ultimate problem with I feel like the sequels is there's a lot of setup that no character fully went through in this film that they're gonna have to focus a lot on in the next film, and that's even with the Riddler character. Joker even says, "How about we team up, bro?" They're gonna do it. Sinister fucking six.
Wait.
in the
We're not
Batman.
gonna- That can of worms yet. It's not worth it.
I want to hear what Amanda has to say.
I just want to say that, like, we have to remember, like, in previous Batman films, they used a lot of the same villains. So we're already going into it, like, we know these villains and their backstory and all of that. So with the Batman, like, this is a pure introduction to his rogues gallery that they chose to present in this film, and they tied it into a film noir. So I personally think that everyone's screen time was beneficial to what the story they were trying to tell with the Riddler, because again, it is a film noir, it's a detective film. So obviously, yeah, there are going to be red herrings. I completely get that. But if you're tying it into like other shows and all of that, that's something that Now, listen, Warner Brothers has been listening to for the fans for a very long time. So they had to do what? Fan service. So they have to be like, we have to connect some shit to this universe. And that's the ultimate downfall because they're trying to do something that Marvel's doing and they're trying to tie that in. So necessarily that's not Matt Reeves' fault because he has to listen to the higher ups. So this was an introductory to his rogues gallery, which is perfectly fine. I completely understood. Listen, I loved Falcone. I freaking loved John Turturro in this role. And like, I want more of him. Sadly, we're not going to get more of him unless there's a prequel. But I think that having the Penguin as his right hand to grow into it is something that's going to be beneficial for Gotham and getting to know the Gotham Underground and all of that. So for me personally, the way that they had to do this to also cater to fans and to cater to Warner Brothers, this is the only way that it could have worked out. Could have been tighter, 100%. Could they have edited this to at least 2 hours, 2:15 max? I think they could have done it. But this is what we have to work with now. And like the criticism is valid on all cases. I just think that the introductory to this character is important to know because that's what this was from the beginning. Sorry.
Can I speak to that really quick? No, I meant that was really, no, you made a lot of good points, but can I just speak to that? Like,
yeah,
if we would have got less Oswald and more Falcone, I think I'd feel a lot better about this story.
I get that.
See, I feel the opposite there.
John Turturro was excellent.
Yeah.
He was excellent, but
Yeah.
he wasn't the villain of the movie.
He was barely in the movie.
That's the point
Nah,
of it.
That's
That's the point. Is you're supposed to be guessing.
But, see, that's my
You're
point.
supposed to be not knowing who is.
Dedicate more time to the
what
Riddler.
strings. Who is the red herring? Who is the what the?
It was obvious who the
bird
red
that can
herring
fly?
was.
Like that's
I
the
didn't think it was a
entire
mystery.
point.
That's my problem.
I
don't
low-key
think it was
think
a
Falcone-
mystery.
But I also think that Falcone was a villain because we all kind of know like who killed Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne. So for me, it was like that's also important for Bruce's backstory.
Also,
to
it's
kind of
literally in the
know that.
writing.
I know, but
With the
that's
murder
important
and
to
with-
Bruce.
he's trying to
It's
find-
important to Bruce, not to Batman, and like that's why it was there and was present. I think.
I think with them killing Falcone off and with Falcone, didn't he also kill Anika?
Yeah.
So it's
He
like
got
I just feel
somebody
like they
else
could've-
to kill
I don't know.
Anika,
They could have
yeah.
spent more time on him. He's
want a
barely in the
prequel.
movie. He's in the movie for like
I want
5
a
minutes.
prequel. God bless John Turturro.
No, he was
Literally.
great.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
I'm out of wine. This is not good. Okay,
No,
Jesus.
I know, but
No!
let's